Now that we've got that even skin color on, let's go in and paint over that some redness on the cheeks, maybe on the ears, around the nose, and that kind of thing. And also maybe some color on the fingernails. So we're going to need another texture slot. I'll just slide this over again. And here in the texture slots pull down, let's make sure we have skin chosen, and then we'll add a new texture slot. We'll create another base color. And for this, let's call this skin. Instead of base, let's call it details. Let's make it 4096 again, just like the last one. And for the color, let's change that to black, just like we did. But for this one now, since it's going to go over the existing one, let's take this alpha channel all the way down. There we go. So now we've got black here and clear here. And that will allow us to see through the texture image with that alpha channel so that we can still see the skin color as we paint over it. I'm going to leave the generated type at blank once again and click OK. And there we go. Here it is. I'll just move this over here like this. Now we need to mix these two together. So what let's do is let's create a Mix RGB node. I'll press Shift A, go to Color, and choose Mix RGB. And this I will just drop right on top of that connection, and it'll connect it up. Let's grab this color and drag it right up into here. And then let's change this from Mix to Add. There we go. So now it looks the same as it did before, but now we're going to be able to paint over it. So let's come over here and pull this menu down, and we'll find our skin details right here. There it is. Let me zoom in to the face. And with this node selected, we can begin painting on it. I'm going to use the draw brush instead of the fill brush for this. And let's zoom in on the face here and see what we can do. How about we begin with the lips? Let me slide this toolbar over again. Let's go into the color swatch, and I'll just take this down to a red, kind of like this. I'll take the strength down some, and this time I am going to use a pen and tablet. It's just so much easier to paint strokes with a pen and tablet. And I just have a Wacom Intuos Pro. It isn't a high-end tablet or anything, but it is good for this kind of work. Once again, you don't absolutely need it. You can use a mouse, but I think you'll be a lot happier with the results if you can use a pen and tablet. All right, so now that I've got all of this in place, I can just click and drag and draw, and you can see I can paint directly on the 3D model, and it appears down here in the image editor, right here. Now, that's not very good. Let's undo that with Control-Z, and let's see if we can get it a little bit better than that. What I will do is hit the F key, and in doing that, I can move the pen back and forth and change the radius of the brush, so maybe something like this. And I can also press Shift F and move it back and forth and change the strength, so maybe something like this. All right, let's give this a try. Oh, and also what I'll do, let me move this toolbar over here. I'm going to turn on symmetry here to mirror from one side to the other. I'll use the X-axis so that when I paint on one side, it also happens on the other. And I'm just going to very lightly paint on here just the hint of the lips. I don't want it to be too strong here. And let's do that. Then what I can also do is zoom into here, change the size of the brush with the F key, and I can paint the inside of the lips in here. I'll turn the strength up, and I'll get this part right inside here, so that when he opens his mouth, there's color inside there to match the outside of the lips. So I just want to paint this here. Now I can increase or decrease the strength of this by using this slider here. I can drag it up and make it stronger, drag it down, make it lighter, but I think I'll maybe move it right about here. And it's not quite the way I want it here. I'd like to take some of that away. And the way we can do that is to use the Erase Alpha blending mode here. So I'll choose this, and then we should be able to pull some of that off of there like that. See how we can erase that a bit? Something like this. There we go. I'll switch back to mix, and I just want to add a little bit of color right in there. Let me bring that strength back down again. Right in here. All right, that's really all I want there. In fact, that may be a little bit too much. We'll see. As I said, I can always bring it down a bit like this, and that may be what I need to do, but let me get the other parts in as well. What I mean by the other parts is maybe some red around the eyes, the nose, the forehead, the ears, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to just change the red here, make it a little bit different right here. And then I'll increase the size of the brush, bring the strength down a bit, and that symmetry is still on. So if I just paint a little bit around the eyes here, you can see it happening over in the UV map here. But I just want a little bit around the eyes, just a little bit. I will come in here and paint a little bit more of this. Hit the F key, bring that down some. Paint a little bit more inside there. Because if we pull the eyelids down for a blink or widen them out some in animation, we want to be sure that all of this is pretty much the same color inside here. Okay. Let's also add that to the nose. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Maybe, let me bring this out some. Maybe right in here, around the nose, maybe on top. You can see it over here. Maybe a little bit on the forehead up here. A little around the inside of the mouth. That may be a little bit too much. Let me bring that brush down and right along that smile line there. Let's give him some rosy cheeks as well. There we go. All right, and then, oh, the ears, let's do that. Add some red to that in there. And once again, if we feel like it's too much, we can come back over here, erase alpha. Maybe bring the strength up just a bit, but we can just go across there and remove some of that. We can do it over here as well, like this. Just back it off a bit. And maybe in here, I can back that off, and the eyes, back that off. And notice here that I didn't get the other eye because we don't have mirroring here in the image editor. So I'll hit F and bring this down, switch back to mix and kind of fill this in here. Now, once again, I can bring this up or bring it down. So I think maybe I'll bring it down just a bit like this. I think I'll back off the color on the lips too. Erase alpha, bring that strength down, increase the size of the brush, and just back that off just a little bit so it isn't quite so strong. There we go. And now the fingernails. Let's do the fingernails too. And I think what we're going to find with the fingernails is that these are so small, we're going to have trouble painting them here. Let's take a look at the UV map over here. Let's zoom into these fingers here. I think we're going to have to paint it here in the image editor. If I make this brush really small like this, and let's sample this color of the skin, and then let's make it a little bit redder like this. Something like that. Now if we zoom in here and try and paint, we don't really see anything. Oh, I've got erase alpha on. Let me switch over to the mix blend mode and try that again. So here, let me just show you. If we paint on here, that doesn't really work too well. But if we come into here and paint here, you can see that there. Let me just get that again. There we go. This one, there. So it's just very subtle. I'm just adding just a slight bit of color to this. That's all. You can see that there. As I paint them here, they pop in there. And on that thumb, let's get it on that thumb here. Just move over to here and paint that. There it is. All right, let's go do it on the other side as well, because once again, we aren't mirroring here in the image editor. So I'll just paint here and each one of these. And then if we zoom out and come over here, we can see we've got just a little bit of color on each one of these. You can see there's just a slight bit of difference. That's all I want. Very subtle. Now, one last thing before we go on to the next video, we need to save this file. See here, we've got an asterisk. Let's click on Image, Save As, and in our Textures folder here, let's go ahead and save this skin details. Save As, and there we go. Now we've got that saved as well. Also, as you increase the number of these external image files that you have, you should also consider coming over here to File and External Data and turning on Automatically Pack into Blend File. And if you turn that on and then save, Control S here, that image file will be packed into the blend file, so that if you take that blend file, that Blender scene file, and use it on another computer, you won't also have to take those images over as well. They'll be already packed into the file. It's kind of like a zip file almost. So as you work with textures and image files here in Blender, I suggest you turn this external data packing function on in case you have to use this blend file on another computer.